We are live on YouTube. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DMV. We are with our midweek preview. Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington football team. If we lose this week, we will probably be the Dallas football team. And and go ahead and introduce yourself, fellas, man, and where everybody can find you on social media. Start with Elton.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you can find me right at the bottom of the screen on Twitter at @your_guy_Knicks. Obviously, I'm here repping today for the rest of my squad. Shout out to Spoonie and Mary Ella from the Stargate Podcast crew. You can find the Stargate Podcast on YouTube, on Facebook, Stargate group and page. Like, follow, come on through. Come see what the gang's all about.
Definitely. And we got my man Elton. Go ahead, Elton.
Yeah, y'all already know where I'm at.
All right, so let's get into business, fellas. So we were chopping it up, and we probably had a show's worth of stuff in the last 10 minutes. But we're going to start with the catastrophe of pretty much what happened on Monday night. And I'm going to start with you, BJ. Yeah. What were your thoughts, man? Because I already know what my thoughts are. People have already seen what mine are.
Yeah, I mean, first quarter, hey, defense is hanging in here, right? 0-0. Okay, offense isn't quite doing what we need to do yet, but we knew, hey, Andy Dalton, maybe a little bit of a trend, let him get a little bit more custom. He's not coming off the bench. He's got time to prep and see what's going to happen. And then what we've done so far every single week, let's have these turnovers back-to-back real quick, get down and struggle the rest of the game. The offense just, wasn't able to recover, at any stretching point once the turnovers happened. And I mean, obviously the defense, same thing. I kind of equivalated to, it's almost like the yips, if you will, in baseball. Like, okay. One thing goes wrong, and then, everyone maybe tries to do a little too much and try to overplay themselves. I think Zeke definitely did that. Obviously, he apologized. He addressed the team right after the game. Took ownership for the L. But I mean, once the defense saw them 2 back-to-back turnovers and give up the touchdowns, I mean, it was pretty much snowball from there. I mean, you just kind of knew it. You had the feeling of number 4 is not behind the center, and we're not going to be able to get back into this thing.
Yeah. So, what about you, Elton?
Monday really wasn't that actually big of a shocker to me. I actually never got mad at any point during that game. I said, okay, this is what we are now. But honestly, I don't really think the Cardinals really outplayed us. It actually seems funny with a 38-10 score. The defense showed up for most of the first half. The turnovers happened, but I don't know why. As soon as the team get a turnover, the defense just say, all right, you can damn score touchdowns now. It don't matter. We're on the field.
Yeah, the old SpongeBob meme. All right, I'm going to head out. Get on up. They didn't turn the ball over. It is what it is.
It's almost like you guys don't pay me to stop anybody when you guys turn the ball over. I don't get paid to stop. I don't get paid to stop turnover. I don't know.
It definitely, and I told everybody on the pregame show for us last Tuesday, and I said, hey, look, everyone's like, all these weapons in the passing game, and I'm like, I told them, I was like, hey, look, I said, y'all worried about the passing game. I'm like, y'all better worry about the running game. I went through and I lined out exactly what Kyler Murray did all season long versus all the teams. He was hurting teams more with his legs than his arms. He'd only had one game with 300 yards passing, and that was against the lowly Jets. I'm like, that's going to be the issue. And lo and behold, they almost racked up 300 yards rushing on us. Once again, we cannot, for whatever reason, none of our defensive ends decide to set the edge. Linebackers can't identify stuff going to the outside quick enough. I mean, it's wash, rinse, repeat. From week 1 to week 6 when it comes to the run game, it's just wash, rinse, repeat. Whatever you want to do in the run game, you go ahead. I mean, if you want to tight end around, you can get it. You can get a tight end around for a touchdown. I mean, whatever you want to do. And then every once in a while, you're going to get about 1 or 2 bombs over the top on Worley because somehow, some way, we as a coaching staff, and here's why I will blame the coaching staff some, you leave Worley in the game and you decide to put him on their fastest wide receiver and wonder what's going to happen. We could be playing, in thirds, and he's still, it's over the top. It's a touchdown. Holler. Peace. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the run game is really what killed us. I mean, Kyler Murray only completed 9 passes
Yeah.
for 188 yards.
And it's actually funny because on my pregame show last week, I kind of called it to a T what was going to happen. I actually said the score was going to be 50-10. And I mean, I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be the Cowboy fan that is just going to sit here and lie to myself. I knew that this was just a matchup nightmare from Jump Street. And Kyler didn't even have a good game. Probably should have been 50-10. It probably should have been 50-10. Like you said, we're still falling for middle school schemes. This was probably the only week. It was 3 weeks in a row we fell for a reverse, or in the round or whatever. 3 weeks in a row, and this broke the streak. But they didn't need to bring that out for us. We couldn't stop anything.
Actually, I mean, kind of on the touchdown, the little shovel pass of the guy coming down. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Close enough. It'll go down as a pass, but close. It's the same thing.
We've had trouble with misdirection. I want to say we have trouble with misdirection, but we also have trouble, obviously, with people running straight at us too. We have trouble with everything. I can't even call it. I can't even lie.
And for me, where I misstepped, in this game, I'm like, look, Andy Dalton came off the bench. He went 9 for 11 against. I mean, I get it. It's the Giants. I understand. And it did enough for us to win the game. And I told everyone, I was like, all offseason, we talked about this Team 40 burger. We got shirts and the whole 9 for Team 40 burger. We coined the score start the offense and all that. I'm like, we won't be that anymore. I felt like, though, Eddie could get us 27 points a game still. And, maybe I was, especially when Zach Martin went out this thing in the second quarter and didn't come back. Yeah, and Andy Dalton getting his 27 points. I was sadly mistaken this week against Arizona.
Well, without saying all summer, I was like, let Andy Dalton play. Y'all are going to find out why the Bengals lost double-digit games for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I kept hearing people say, well, this is the most weapons Andy Dalton has ever had.
Yeah,
and all three of us, I know that specifically, we never fell for that. Like, the Bengals were loaded at one time as a complete team. They were a contender with Andy Dalton at one point. So in order for people to say that, I really didn't understand that. And, we found that out on Monday night. And, things aren't looking good. Zach Martin, did he go out with an official concussion?
Yeah, he's still in protocol today. He's still not practicing, so there's no guarantee he's going to make it this week.
I don't see him making it this week on the short week.
Yeah, you got to make it out by Friday in order to.
I put it this way:
looking at that Redskins D-line and saying, "I'm good."
If Zach Martin makes it out of concussion protocol in a short week, somebody paid somebody. Somebody shoved it. Somebody gave somebody some cash somewhere, because there's no way. There's no way on a short week that he should make it back from a concussion. I wouldn't even want that for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, being somebody that's had multiple concussions playing football, you definitely don't want to go out there, especially playing at that level. And the knee he took to the back of the helmet.
Yeah. I mean, here's your potential starting lineup Sunday. Cameron Irving, Connor Williams, Tyler Badaz, Connor McGovern, Terrence Steele. That's your potential starting lineup.
That looks like a week 4 preseason lineup.
Again, if Elton DMV, if somebody would have slid you a piece of paper before week 1, it said, hey, week 7 against Washington, this is going to be your offensive starting lineup. You're like, it all came off. Everything came off. The train, the track, the wheels. It's all came off. And I mean, from an injury standpoint of this offensive line, it absolutely has.
If you would have told me that, I would have said, you know what, honey? What do you got on your honey to-do list on Sundays? You need me to wash your car? You need me to take it to Jiffy? You need me to
gas it up? Need an oil change?
Should we grill on Sunday? We should have a nice quiet. We should have nice quiet weekends. Maybe we go to church in the evening or something. We can't now because of COVID, but maybe we find something else to do on Sundays, because nobody can win with this line. Nobody.
Yeah.
Dak
Well,
is at home.
I think that could.
He keep us competitive. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what we do know. I mean, he keep us competitive. I mean, that's what we do know. And I kind of want to touch back on what you talk about the
like that versus Dak. No.
right. Yeah. I mean, and touch back on your on the Cincinnati thing and the team that was so talented and he really had the talent or not. And like I told some of us, yeah, in 2019 and 18, whenever Andy was playing, the talent wasn't there. First 5 years, you go to the playoffs and you win that division. And we know the hitters that are in that division with the Ben Roethlisbergers of the world and whatnot, and you're winning that division. You have some type of talent, but like I told people, whether you want to say the offensive weapons are better or not, okay, with 3 deep or whatever, you want to talk about maybe Zeke's better than the running backs they had or whatever. Okay, but people were missing the point. They had a top 3 in turnovers and top 3 in yardage defense on the other side of Andy to help him. This is a complete kind of game. This isn't the NBA. I can't just take a team that's terrible, go get LeBron James and go win 50 games in a year. This isn't the same thing. And again, people forget like the Andre Whitworths of the world that was at left tackle, was an all-pro that he had over there. And we don't have nobody right now, unless Zach Martin comes back, even in the stratosphere of what he was for that offensive line for Cincinnati. So again, as I said, look, I don't care who's behind center. The way we're playing right now, I mean, yeah, sure, Dak can keep us competitive. We won a couple of games, but you're not going to win a lot of games with this offensive line. And I mean, look, injuries happen. You got to find a way to overcome them. Absolutely. There's not many teams that can overcome 3, 4, 5 offensive tackle injuries, though. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's one team that kind of overcame a lot of injuries when it came to offensive line. They kind of won the Super Bowl off of it. And they had a quarterback though that they crafted a game plan for, and I hate to say it because they're a division rival, but Philadelphia found a way.
But they didn't lose a center, 3 tackles.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, they lost some pieces for sure, but yeah,
I'm not gonna count the center position because I consider Joe Looney. Well, yeah, we did lose Joe Looney this year.
Yeah, so. You lost Joe Looney, and you lost Tyler, and you had Travis Frederick retire, and you lost Joe Looney. So I mean, technically, you're to your 3rd, rookie 4th rounder. Which I mean, I have a lot of high hopes for Tyler. I think Tyler's going to be very good in this league, but still, you've lost 2 centers, you've lost 3, 4 tackles. We know what Connor Williams is at left guard. I've pounded the table wherever. He's a better tackle than he is a guard, but here we are. And now, I mean, I guess we get to see Connor McGovern finally, and we haven't been able to see him yet. Maybe he'll surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess we won't really know how good our guards. Well, we know Connor is not really that good, but McGovern,
right?
I mean, I'm talking about Connor Williams, but
Connor
McGovern. I don't know if we'll ever really see how good he is because of how bad we are on the edge and how teams have been attacking us off the edge, especially this week a lot with DBs. More so, oh my God, they came off the edge
every time,
and they just completely fooled us. And with Andy being a veteran quarterback, I was actually a little bit more surprised that he wasn't able to diagnose the blitzes coming.
Right.
I was actually a little bit more surprised that way, but maybe that's why Zeke had 8 catches. Maybe he was checking
blitz.
Yeah, they didn't. And at this point, with the guys that we have planned in there, do you really have to hide what you're doing?
No.
Overload aside and come, and you'll get home. That's kind of where it's at. I mean, if you kind of even go back to whether it was the Giants game or even the game before that, if you overload aside, you'll get home. I mean, that's really, it's not really blitzes up the middle per se or bringing something late or discussing like y'all are talking about. Just overload aside. If you overload aside, and technically you're probably going to get home. Statistically, it showed that you're going to get home. And we've yet to kind of figure a way to diagnose. We try all these different, screen passes that don't seem to work, but it seems like we never have, anything diagnosed right behind a wide receiver screen or something diagnosed right behind where that is coming off or something built in to say, okay, here they are overloading this side. All right, the hot route's going to be right here. And, and unfortunately, we just haven't been able to take advantage of that kind of stuff, whether it's quarterback schematically in between. I mean, I did hear Andy audibling a lot of kills coming from Andy, but a lot of times it just seems like either the offensive line was missing the calls. One of the big things when you are blitzing, your center's got to make a lot of the line calls for you. And obviously you got a rookie who's still getting
good point.
That is getting his feet wet. And, and right now it's just not there. But I agree with you. Andy has to be the veteran that he is, been in this league for 10 years. He has to understand and see that with his eyes and make something happen to adjust for that, one way or the other. And there was some times where he just completely whipped on the blitz, and unexcusable for him.
Yeah, and you know what, you actually you in bringing up what you just did, you actually made me think that maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking, because at the end of the day, how could Andy, as a veteran, really coach somebody up in a week to really be to make those calls? Because obviously, probably with Joe Looney going out, obviously there's no Frederick. It probably was Dak making a lot of those calls,
Right.
more than likely. Zach Martin, who knows what he does as far as making calls, but Connor Williams probably isn't making any calls. You got two left and the right tackle.
They're not making.
They're not making any calls, or
Right.
they're not really getting anybody in line.
Right.
And the biggest thing that I told Elton a couple of years ago, when the line was the greatest that it was in 2016, they had Doug Free to bring those guys along. None of these guys has anybody like that. So
True.
you have a valid point. Maybe it'll take a couple of weeks in order for those kinds of things to get shored up. But with Andy being a veteran, I mean,
it's got to be better.
It'll he got to do better, but it probably will get better. It probably will take some time. Unfortunately,
though, when he was making hot reads on them screens, they actually wasn't getting blocked right.
It's true.
Yeah,
so come on. How is the screen that is supposed to give you 10, 11 yards to the negative 2-yard gain?
But I mean, Elton, we gotta think about this though. For the most part, when you're running screens, you gotta have linemen not only that can get out, but that can block in space. We got guys that literally, this is a lineup that you would throw out there in week 4 of a preseason game, where you got Dak on the sideline who ain't take no snaps at all, and you got Cooper Rush's bum ass in there playing quarterback.
I know they're both redheaded, but Andy Dalton.
No.
Season 4 preseason. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I will say another thing too. Looking at some of the tape on some of them screens, guys, our wide receivers aren't blocking very well. I'll be honest with you. The wide receivers aren't blocking very well. We are getting those screen calls and whatnot. They're not doing their job at the point of attack, which is a little disappointing with CeeDee Lamb, who blocks pretty well in college. Maybe that's somewhere, again, schematically, you don't want to tip your hand, but if you need to get a wide receiver out there to block, maybe you need to get Noah Brown on some of these screen situations to get him out there and handle some of this blocking for them, or split out a tight end.
Schultz is missing.
Yeah. Split out a tight end maybe into that slot position to help with some of that blocking, where we bring in Bell to do it, or maybe not just Schultz but somebody else, just to try to help block that thing up. Because obviously you're not going to get the same kind of blocking with this offensive line in the screen game if you're going to just continuously try to run them. You have to do some things to help these guys out schematically to get this plays done.
But you know what else though, Nix? I think about this. Maybe it's not blocked up good because we telegraph the hell out of our screens. Like our screens, like you can see them coming a mile away.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So I mean, like even with Dak in there, it would just completely telegraph. Yeah. So part of being a good screen game is being able to not telegraph it by making sure that your habits show up each play. Mm-hmm. Like whatever your habits are, like if I'm aggressive here, if I'm aggressive there, or like it has to look the same each and every time in mm-hmm. order for you not to telegraph any of these screens. And we just, for some reason, linebackers they're able to key on whatever we do. Maybe we're. I mean, I know we've ran that same bubble motion, damn fake here screen to Zeke a million times. We've been running that since 2016.
Yeah.
It was working then though.
You had the great wall though too to be able to get out there and get those blocks in.
Yeah.
So and also the art of I'm not going to leave too soon to get out here. Some of these guys are getting a little too anxious and not holding their block long enough. And as soon as they're out, that lets the linebackers know, oh shit, let me get up. Excuse my language, but let me get on out here to the edge because I'm keying on these guards and centers and they're pulling already. And they just recognize it. Football IQ 101. So I mean, here's the problem, guys. We're talking about really simple stuff with this team that we're not able to do, and it's easy to understand why we're 2-4. I mean, we don't play sound, smart football. We have talent, even though with all the injuries. Sure, there's talent on both sides of the ball, but it's the NFL. There's talent on every team. I don't care about you. We can talk about the Jets being 0-6. There's talent on the Jets, though. It's the same. This ain't like, okay, you could just be Clemson to go play Georgia Tech and blow them out, okay? Like, it's not going to happen on this level. And you have to do the fundamental things. You have to play smart football. And unfortunately, we just haven't. Like I said, we talked about earlier, on the outside run, but no, our defensive ends aren't setting the edge. Man, you learned that in Pop Warner. I mean, that's Pop Warner stuff. This ain't college or a hard concept. When you're playing a deep third, Worley, okay, you're just dropping. Why are you trying to jump underneath the route that's already covered?
That ain't the duty. That is
nothing to do with it. Yeah. So I don't really want to hear about it's coaching assist. It's fundamental stuff, like easy stuff that you learn these concepts in junior high school. I don't care what level of college. Like, you learn these concepts. This isn't, and then you have to have how embarrassing is it that your head coach has to come out and say, well, yeah, man, we simplified the defense after week 2 because, guys wasn't getting it. I mean, that speaks volumes. That ain't coaching. Y'all, the players came out and said, right? Everson Griffin talked about it like in week 3 or 4 or after week 2, week 3 and different things. And, oh, this is complicated. And they changed it and wonder why we're in the position that we're in. Y'all can't pick up simple concepts of football. And, the communication side pre-snap is just as important defensively as offensively, and we're having breakdowns on that consistently on a consistent basis. And that's something that isn't just new to this team with some of these players. This happened with the last regime in some of these players.
Wow.
So I mean, you got to kind of look at those things and say, you might not like this coaching staff as much, but it's still some of the same stuff that y'all were going through over the past 2 or 3 years. It's just still here. Now, though, injuries and different things, it's just rearing its ugly head.
Okay, so Nick, you brought up some very valid points in what you're saying. So, with that being said, new coaching staff, simple scheme, who's to blame?
Both.
I mean, I'm on backdoor. Elton, I mean, a little bit, because if you can't, and of course it's NFL, you got to follow the check. If you can't understand it, then I need to put somebody in that can understand it. But now we start talking about certain of these players. Well, if you start sitting them down, then what's going to happen? You start sitting the LVE, or you start sitting the Jalen Smith, or you start sitting DeMarcus Lawrence down and saying, no, you ain't getting it. You're sitting down. We're going to play this guy instead. And then that creates a difference because of, DMV, what you talked about, the culture here in Dallas. So if you start sitting those guys down because it's too hard and they're not getting it, you can't placate to the player so much that you've simplified it to the point where, again, how many teams do you know the NFL is going to lose if they only give up 9 completions?
Mm-hmm.
And not just lose, blowed out, housed, not closed, ugly.
It's like a high school game, really. Honestly, if you think about it, it's really a high school game. And so for me, I somewhat feel like this is what I mean by the culture, and this is why we're losing culture. I've said this time and time again, and this is probably your first time hearing it from me. Who are the players accountable to? Are they accountable to your coach, or are they accountable to the Joneses or the front office? Because to me, I think the most winning organizations, they're only accountable to the coach, or like here it's like so many chefs in the kitchen. So you said you can't sit down to Jalen because Jalen just got that deal.
Right.
You can't sit down to LVE. That's a bad one because he was sitting down on his own.
Yeah.
I get what you were saying though. Or Witten last year,
right?
Who's sitting Witten down when Witten is can't run 5 yards? Right. You know what I mean? Like he can't run 5 yards fast and get his head around. You know what I mean?
I want to, and let me double down on that culture side. For anyone that's played football, you know what? It doesn't really matter if you're. I mean, it matters. It matters who you're accountable to, like your coach. You play for the coach or the owner or whatever. But you know what? And probably maybe the biggest problem here when we speak about culture, these players aren't accountable to each other, and that's a problem. And that's a problem. These players aren't accountable to each other. I mean, look, I've been on teams where we're like, man, this coach ain't with it. But guys, hey, we're either on this court or we're on this field. Hey, we know what we got to do, man. You can't you can't be over here loafing. Hey, you got to get back on this right here. I know the defense, we don't like it, but you at least got to set that edge for me, give me a chance. I'm not going to be able to get there. And that's the biggest problem is to me anyways, like, yeah.
You're right.
We all feel that D-Law is the vocal leader of this defense, right? Hot boys, the whole nine. He talks a lot. And I mean, sure, he showed up against the Giants, but we haven't seen a whole lot. Why isn't D-Law grabbing somebody by the collar and saying, hey, you need to be here? At a certain point, the players have to keep themselves accountable to each other, if nothing else, and that's not happening either.
Well, this question not question, but this comment came in, and it's kind of going to your point, but Zeke stepped up and said the Cards' loss was on him. Yeah. I've seen Dak take that accountability. Yeah. I've never seen anybody on the defensive side say that. When this happens, you hear D-Law cussing out people on Twitter or cussing out reporters and all of this type of stuff. When you see the defense, when somebody makes a mistake, you see guys like, oh, you were supposed to be here or you were supposed to be there. Yeah. So the leadership on that side of the ball, like on offense, I can really say this, honestly. Effort isn't a problem on offense. We might stink. We might have stunk last game. Effort wasn't an issue. You brought up before all of this, you talked about the effort, and can you talk about that a little bit here on some of the lows?
Yeah. I mean, dial them up. I go back. I rewatch the game from every week. I rewatch the game about 2 or 3 times, and I dial up the all 22, and I go through the cuts, and I'll look at specific players and stuff. And I mean, every single week you can pick out multiple players on the defensive side of the ball that are loving. And this is even before the 70% comment of Xavier Woods and whatnot. I mean, the fact that he was able to muster the words to even say that stuff is amazing to me. But even on top of that, like, you could see it. I mean, there's players that people have a ton of jerseys of that is out here loafing. And that's a problem. Like, you can't loaf. You can't decide when to turn it on and turn it off in this league. And now we can say that's a disconnect. And this is where back to the thing, disconnect with the coaching staff. But you're not loafing on the coaching staff, my guy. You're loafing on the guy, D-Law. I literally watched D-Law. Look, and there's one thing I won't say about D-Law. D-Law don't loaf, and D-Law is 100% moving. I watched D-Law catch a guy who should not have caught from behind on a rundown on the pass play on D-Hop. I ain't gonna say no. I ain't gonna say no numbers. Just go look. Just go look and watch D-Law running, catch and pass this said guy on that play. Shout out to Donovan Wilson not getting that tackle. Even though they ended up scoring anyways. But, I mean, again, there's just a lot of guys that are out here that are not playing at 100% on
defense. Say the number for you, 54. 54. Loafed his ass down on that play. That is the problem with this team. The defense, which is the worst part of the team, does the most chirping. Offense chirp when they have the reason to.
Yeah.
When Mari ran the wrong route on the interception, he said, you know what? I actually didn't run a route that was called. It's called, and it then caused the interception. He didn't blame the coaches. He didn't say, why did y'all call that play? He's like, you know what? I actually thought Dak would see what I saw, but I didn't run the route.
Right.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, accountability is huge for me. Because accountability means, like, you know what? I'm going to get better from this. With Zeke taking that blame, do you think Zeke is going to come out here next week? And I mean, he might fumble. I don't know. But the one thing that I can trust is that he's going to give it his all.
I mean, like I said earlier, in the show right before we came on. I mean, as soon as the game was over, Zeke stood up in front of the whole team and said it was on me. He showed some accountability, not to the media, he showed it to the team, and that matters. And I mean, for me, 6 weeks in, guys, I don't know about y'all. Here's the most disappointing thing. If we're going to look, I've been through losing seasons. I've been a Cowboys fan a long time. I've been through losing seasons. I've been through 3 straight 5-11s, the whole 9. Right?
Yeah.
And the most disappointing thing about this so far for me was for some player to go out here, not put his name on it, and start trashing this coaching staff and say they don't know how to teach and they're not very smart. And I wasn't going to say anything, but now we're losing, so now I'm going to get out here and hop in Jane's DMs about, hey, don't quote me, but hey, I'm telling you this now. Like once that starts happening, I'm like, it's soft. It's soft.
But you know what though, Nick? I used to blame Jason Garrett for that. I used to blame Jason Garrett, and I would be like, it's always a leak. It's got to be coming from Jason Garrett, or it's got to be coming from. But Jason Garrett is long gone, and the same things are happening.
Here's the thing:
it's the culture.
Think about it from 2011 to last year. You actually didn't really hear no locker room chirping. You actually did during the Wade era, but if you think about it, there actually was no locker room chirping.
There was nobody going out and talking down on the coaching staff. The only person that did put his name on it, that was Des Bryant. Outside of Des Bryant, but again, he put his name on it. So, hey, if you put your name on it, I can respect it. When you're quiet and you're like, you know what, I don't like what's going on, I'm gonna sit over here. No, man, it's soft. It's soft. It's a terrible take. You put your coach behind the 8 ball, comes out here, says we need to handle this like men. Man, my door's open. Come talk to me. Man, we're only six games into this thing, and now you running and tattling and they don't teach us very well, and we don't like this guy. It's like it's just no disrespect to any female listeners, but man, it's female tendencies in the locker room right now, and I'm sorry about that. I mean, It just is. It's soft, and I don't like it. Like for me, that's the most disappointing thing as far a player to start going out here and leaking stuff about this coaching staff that's been on the job for 6 games in a shortened and off-kilter type of offseason.
I agree.
Along with all the injuries that we've had thus far, and you lost 4. Like to go out and do this now, and you're still in first place. No matter what, you're still in first place with a division game coming up, and you out here crying. I just don't like it.
Somebody on defense.
Yeah, and to be honest with you guys, like I've played on some losing teams and some winning teams, coming up, and all I know that I wasn't blessed enough to make it to that level to the NFL, but I've had some good coaches and I've had some really bad coaches, but I would never publicly come out and just dog a coach while we're in season, especially if we're winning the division. Now, we might not have a winning record. We might be playing like crap, but there's something to say about locker room etiquette, because if you're willing to sell out that coach, you're willing to sell out anybody. You're willing to sell out anybody. And so what that does is that makes it something where, because I've been in situations where he said stuff, and it kind of dismantled everything, and it really broke everything apart. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
JG,
what's up?
You remember this conversation me and you had in April? I said to you, I don't really know if we're gonna be that good this year, because I damn think the offense is gonna confirm, but the defense isn't. And then Mike McCarthy's gonna have to get rid of all them guys who ain't gonna buy in. And where are we today?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I mean, that was kind of my point too for the season. And I said the offense would have to carry the defense early on, learning everything. And there was some new moving pieces within there. And I said, but I thought the defense had a chance to be much better the second half of the season than the first half of the season. But the offense had to carry us early on. And this thing offensively with the injuries just went off track. And now the defense is the defense. We already know.
Yeah, and not to mention, we talked about it earlier, we're turning the ball over a lot more, trying to press. And my guy Montana brought up when the offense is turning the ball over constantly on short field, defense can't keep bailing the offense out. But they're not bailing us out at all. They're not bailing anything. But
make them kick a field goal at least.
Hey, how about this one? It's okay to take the ball away too, guys. You won't go to jail. They won't lock you up for stealing the ball away from the offense. I promise you. You are more than welcome to go get that ball back from the other team anytime you want to.
Track the other quarterback.
And even with those turnovers, right now, 6 weeks in, we've given up more points in NFL history than any team ever. That's where we're at defensively.
You know what? Maybe we need to stop. Maybe we need to stop putting our eggs in the basket of all these weed guys and go find some thieves. Go find somebody who's broken in entries or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, We need something. But Montana says the organization's soft, and it is soft, and that's what I was talking about. It's a culture.
That is the biggest difference between us and the Eagles. The Eagles are a tough team, and Doug Peterson's gonna get them to play. Us,
and that was, and of course, and they've dealt with the Alshon Jeffries of the world, basically out here dry snitching and talking about Wentz and not liking Wentz or whatever the case may be. They've dealt with some of their stuff on the same token as well over the past couple of years of what's going on with Wentz and everything else. And and look at them, here they are. They're 1-4-1. It's ugly. It's ugly for them too. But overall, you are right. A little bit more tougher. But again, you're not going up top. You're either going to the coach or you're going to the GM. There's not that open door policy. And look, and I really think it's so much of an open door now with Jerry as much as it is with Steven. And we thought maybe Steven would be a little bit different. And here's what I know. Every week, Steven's like, well, we like the guys we have in house. We like the guys we have on campus. We like the guys on.
I don't.
Hey, I'm gonna put that on the shirt. We like the guys we have on campus.
And the number one jersey that the Cowboys want to sell is draft picks and cap space.
Salary cap.
Is there the possibility that we tank on accident?
I call it we could lose with flair. we could definitely lose with flair. I think that's very possible with this. Do I need to run down that offensive line that could try out here against this Washington defensive line this week?
Oh, we're gonna get into that actually.
Honestly, it is almost time for a reset. We actually need about a top 5 pick.
Yeah, the last time we had a top 5 pick, we ended up turning that into Zeke, and then Dak ended up being a 4th rounder, and we ended up. And we probably do, but we probably don't need to get a quarterback.
We actually need offensive linemen.
I got my eyes on the young man from Oregon.
Yeah, there's a left tackle in Oregon now.
Yeah, that's
yeah. For me, as I said last night on our show, I was like, man, give me the offensive tackle from Oregon and just draft defense the rest of the way, and we'll see where the chips land. Just throw as many pegs at the wall to help this defense out and do that. Just give me offensive tackle so I know whenever Tyron Smith goes down, we're good and we got the future there, and pay Dak and then just go draft you, 1,511 million defensive guys and see what happens.
And it is okay to go in free agency to get a good player, Steven. It's okay. We won't be mad at you.
It's okay to go get a safe. It's okay to actually draft a safety or actually draft a big body that's worth the damn. It's okay. We just don't value defensive tackle like we should.
And again,
we get bargain deals.
Here's your cultural problem as it pertains to this defense and this team is that you have to look. Being strong on the edge is great. I'm not saying that you have to be. You have to be strong down the middle of your defense. It's like baseball. You have to be strong down. You have to be strong down the middle because if you go look at the teams that are most successful in this league, they don't throw the ball outside the hashes. Last year, go dial it up. If you don't believe your guy in this, go dial it up. You see all these bombs and everything that's coming from Patrick Mahomes. He had less than 100 attempts outside the hashes last year, guys. Less than 100. Less than 100.
In between the middle hashes is the biggest part of the field, the biggest third. Anybody that's been on the football field, that's the biggest third. Everything that's low percentages on them outside hashes.
Extra defenders called the sidelines. You got to make sure defenders out there. And if you look at them, they have a beastly defensive tackle in Chris Jones. They got a couple of nice little linebackers who used to play in Dallas and Hitchens and Wilson. And then you got a safety back there in Tyler in the Honey Badger. And they drafted
somebody we should have drafted in Juan Thornhill.
Strong down the middle. That's what it is. And never mind the fact they have, Chavius Ward and Mo Claiborne they had last year on the outside, which Ward's there, Claiborne's gone or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're strong down the middle of the defense. And when you look at teams that are historically good, talk about those Eagles, a Fletcher Cox, right? Hey, a Malcolm Jenkins on the back end. Strong down the middle of the defense. That's just what it boils down to. And we like flash. Oh, we got this outside linebacker. Oh, we got the Elon defensive end. Let's go bring in Quinn. Oh, look what he can do on the other side. Let's go draft this. And look, we needed a corner. We needed a corner. I'm not saying we didn't. And let's go draft Diggs at corner and things like that. You cannot tell me that Clinton Diggs is worse than these safeties that are playing back there right now. You can't make me believe.
No. This is my theory. Clinton Diggs told him how bad the scheme was. He told him how bad things were. He probably voiced his opinions and he got booted. That's just what I think.
Swiping the Brandon Carr.
Then can Darian Thompson voice his opinion, please? Tell me this is trash.
Nah, he's gonna hold on. Darian Thompson's trying to hold on to that playing time. You already know.
This is what I've been telling people. People are crying. Well, we actually had Byron Jones. So Byron Jones would not make a difference on his defense.
He wouldn't. Not this defense, no.
He wouldn't. Jalen Ramsey wouldn't make a difference on his defense. Why? Because I could put my worst receiver out on you because corners don't travel anymore. So I could put my worst receiver out there and cook everybody else around him.
Yep.
And because
it was happening last year.
Yeah, because all that would have happened if we resigned Byron Jones. People would say he ain't doing nothing. He is making $16 million a year. He don't have any interceptions in our defense, man.
Yeah, and remember last year Cheeto was the one getting cooked, so they was doing that.
Yeah, this ain't the '90s where it's only two receivers going in routes and you can literally lock down half a field.
I kind of feel like the way that our front office goes, and when we talk about culture, I kind of feel like they're trying to still build like it's the '90s. They treat the safety position like, oh, we're gonna find another linebacker from Arizona that's gonna convert to a safety that's just gonna end up being a Hall of Fame talent. Yeah, I mean, or defensive line, like, nah, we're just gonna get a whole bunch of middle of the pack guys and just gonna play well together. We're gonna get a Charles Fairley type on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, they did care about the defense tackle position a little bit more. I mean, they drafted the Russell Maryland high, right, in the first round, top 5 or 6 pick. You know, they brought in Leroy. We haven't had one since then, but we brought in Leroy Glover in free agency. We just haven't done a lot there. Definitely, we kind of leaned on Rod Marinelli of, well, you just get him guys and he'll make them better. The Henry Meltons that he did in Chicago and stuff like that, he'll just make them better. And look, and not to say that he didn't do that to an extent with maybe, say, a David Irving or whatnot, but when you're bringing Stephen Pia's in here and stuff like that, you can't expect him to turn Stephen Pia, into Chris Jones. You can't do that. Now, obviously, you brought in Poe, you brought in McCoy. McCoy got hurt. Poe has not been as advertised or could do as much as we thought maybe he could. But on the same token, you brought Poe in here. But you brought Poe in here, and again, you brought Poe in here to be your nose tackle in the 3-4. Everybody else on defense complained about it, so now he's not playing the 3-4 nose tackle anymore. So it's like I don't need him to just sit there and eat up stuff, like he would, in the 3-4. It's a little bit different, and he's not able to do those things. So here we are, and it's just it's a cluster F, if you will.
Well, here's where it's the coach's fault and the organization's fault, in my opinion. Because you already had these guys signed to deals before Mike Nolan was even our coach on defense. So if we're built like a 4-3 team and the guys that are getting the most money are 4-3 players, why are we converting to a 3-4?
Yep. Agreed. I mean,
why are we bringing in Mike Nolan to begin with anyway? Why wouldn't we be bringing in a 4-3 guy?
Well, Mike Nolan gave Mike Nolan gave old boy a job back in the day. You know how that goes. He gave Mike McCarthy a job. And here's the thing. They talked about this multiple thing, and here's where I gave probably Mike Nolan a little bit too much credit. Is that he's been the linebacker coach for the Saints for a while. Dennis Smith has been great as a Saints defensive coordinator, right? And they're running a 4-3, and I'm like, okay. He sat there, linebackers, right? We look at our linebackers, what we can do with these linebackers. Well, I'm gonna say, being in house with Dennis Smith, he probably learned a lot. Is going to bring that here. Yeah, he wants to sprinkle in because you got Alden Smith in this thing. You want to sprinkle in a little bit of a multiple look, but we're going to be that traditional 4-3 kind of look and kind of go from there. And obviously, we started out doing way too much and not. Then we dialed it back, and I mean nothing that they've tried to do. And look, and give him Nolan credit. He was up in the booth. He came down out of the booth. Now he's trying to do this, do that, and yet I mean, just nothing's ever working. But I don't care what you're calling. If guys don't know their responsibilities,
it's not what you know. It's what you can get them to know and execute. Right. I say that all the time.
And you got to go 100. You got to go 100 miles an hour. You can't be going 50. You can't be doing 50 into 75. You just can't be doing that and expect results.
Yeah, you can't teach football on Zoom.
Well, I mean, to me, I could learn football anywhere. I just think that if you got to take pride in that, in my opinion.
Accountability, sir.
Yeah. You got to take pride in it. You can teach football over Zoom. It's just a matter of, are you in your playbook or not? I mean, hell, the offense ain't. I mean, this guys is coming in that's new on offense that still know their responsibilities.
Right.
Because you actually got a leader on offense.
Well, yeah. Or you had a leader that you don't want to take care of.
Get to my house. Come on.
Yeah, I'll build a field. Let's go. Yeah.
I'll build a field.
You
guys show up. Yeah, I mean,
get to my house.
I don't understand how you don't like that guy. I don't understand how some of these fans don't
like him. They actually wasn't saying, let's make some hoodies.
Oh my God.
Let's build. Let's make some hoodies, guys, all off season. Okay, that'll get us better.
All right, so let's get into this Washington matchup because 45 minutes about how crappy we are. This is the crap bowl. All right. So Elton, so what do we have to do offensively in this game? I'll start with you.
Pray.
This is the one we actually wouldn't want to be Andy Dalton. Because he may get sacked 9 times this week. He may get sacked 9 to 10 times this week.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that line. The Bama brothers, Allen Payne. You sprinkle in Chase Young, Ryan Kerrigan as well.
Oh God. Ionitis.
Ionitis as well. You talk about those guys, and back to and then of course it goes back to if Zach Martin's not going to be able to play. If he's not going to be able to play, ladies and gentlemen, your starting offensive line will consist of left tackle to right tackle: Cameron Irving, Connor Williams, Tyler Badaz, Connor McGovern, and Terrence Steele against those guys that we just named. UGLY, you have no alibi. It's ugly.
So Nick, so what do you think we should do offensively? Like, how can we attack them knowing what we have?
I mean, besides eat our vitamins and say some prayers. I think the biggest thing is you're going to have to establish the quick pass game. You're going to have to try to get some runs to the edge. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, not that you can't try the middle. I mean, obviously, if you're going to try the middle, it needs to be behind Tyler. Tyler definitely, since he's been in the game, and I kind of said this and kind of felt this, he's athletic. He can get to the second level. Maybe him communicating and picking up different blocks and stuff. Pre-snap might be an issue with him being a rookie, but as far as him physically and be able to block in the run game and get to the second level, he can. Outside of running behind them up the middle, these runs to me got to be, we're not going to be all out tosses, but we need to try to get to the edge and maybe create some seams for some cutbacks for Zeke a little bit. You're going to scheme it a little bit differently than our traditional run game and what it has been. I think is really big. The tight end, which hey, Schultz has kind of showed up improved. I think you got to try to get him involved early on as well with this quick pass game. To me, I think this is a game where you're just, especially with Zach Martin out, got to get back with that 2 tight end sets, man. I know we got these 3 wide receivers. We want to let them go out here and eat. I understand it, but it ain't gonna be mattering if Andy Dalton's on the ground eating dirt, and then we got to play Ben DiNucci. So I think you got to get back to some max protection. That's got to happen this game.
Yeah, I like that idea of the max protect because at the end of the day, Washington's secondary really isn't that good. So if you max protect, taking the receiver off the field still ain't gonna stop the guys from getting open, or the guys that are running route. And another thing that you brought up about getting on the edge, which I was going to bring up, we had some flashes in this game when Zeke fumbled the ball, Pollard running the football. Mm-hmm. And I think as a running back this year, Pollard hasn't done bad. I think he can be part of the quick passing game, getting to the edge, being somebody that's quick and making those big guys run from side to side. I think that we probably need to implement him more in the offense. I mean, we're not really using them. And I mean, we could use all the help we can get. Dalton could use all the help he could get. Maybe he's your screen guy. Maybe he's the guy we run a lot of the screens to, opposed to.
And JG, let me ask you this, and I'm not saying I'm not saying he's Gio from back in the day whenever Dalton was up there, but he's Gio-esque enough. And look, not just a screen game since we can't run screens. And let's start with the little outs and the little curls and the flats and different things like that. How about let's run some Texas action with him, right? Let's get some of these angles out of the backfield.
Absolutely.
And let's maybe do a little bit of that.
This week it would be perfect for, because it's quick. And you take advantage of their backers, because they have backers that don't know what they're doing. They got backers covering grass and stuff. So I definitely like Tony Pollard. In I guess maybe he's running flats. Maybe he's running, like you said, the Texas action. Yeah, I like his odds against a linebacker there. Honestly,
me too. And again, Max protect that, get him on a linebacker, that little angle, and a little 5-yard flick, and then he's got the speed, which you talked about, and things he can do, and get you maybe 15, 20 off of that, because that linebacker's not going to be able to catch up to him.
But have you noticed this watching Andy the last game? He actually didn't seem like he was sure where to throw the ball. He was doubling.
I mean, if I was you, if they had somebody come off the edge like that off of me, I'd not know where to go with the football too.
Elton, I agree with you. When he came off the bench and with that 9-11, he was very decisive with the ball. He was very decisive, and a lot. And I do agree, especially early on, even before the pressure got to. Although the pressure was coming, I agree. Maybe a little the one where he almost threw the interception earlier, where he kind of cocked it and then he kind of threw it again. It should have been a pick six, really. But he dropped it. Definitely not as decisive. Sometimes those kind of players, man, I look at them like, man, coming in cold and not no expectations, they bang, bang, bang. And then, okay, now you get all week and everything's sitting on top of you. You're doing all the media and stuff. And I was like, okay, it's real. I'm the guy, and I got to line up here and go out here and do something.
It was a big stage.
Right. Yeah, and of course, and I made a post, and a lot of people kind of trashed me for it. I said, hey, man, overall, Andy Dalton's like 4-12 in primetime games. He's 0-5, and whenever the lights are on, he hasn't played well. And, it's that's where, we talked about earlier. Well, he's got a more talented team. He didn't have no talent, blah, blah. I was like, he's 0-5 in the playoffs. Stop it. I mean, you got a talented team. When the lights are on, Andy's not been as good, and we saw that Monday night.
Yeah. He's gonna have to figure it out, because at the end of the day, you're always on the big stage with Dallas.
Yep.
Always there. So, is there any hope? Like, is Benucci Romo? Is he Romo?
And the thing about it, and whenever Everson Griffin got to the argument and it ended up on TMZ with Kevin on, and I said, and I made a post there too. I said, man, look, the light hits different in Dallas, and not every player is built to be able to play in Dallas. And we're going to find that out about Andy Dalton, or maybe even Ben DiNucci. I mean, our head coach says he's got a lot of Mark Bulger-like qualities to him. So, I don't know. He started at Pitt. He transferred to James Madison, played well. It's not going to. We don't want to see him. We don't want to see him hit the field this year, obviously, right? But again, I think there's things. I still think there's things that Andy Dalton can do to help this team win, but we got to be accountable on both sides of the ball, and they got a game plan for what's ahead of us. Like we talked about, this O-line versus this D-line. There was no Chandler Jones last week, guys, for Arizona. Think about that for a second. Chandler Jones didn't play with the Cardinals last week, and you saw how that went. So
yeah. Oh my God. I really think that offensively we got to play small ball. Forget the whole fast pace. We're gonna score 40 points. We can't score 40 points in offense. If we win this game, we gotta win this game like 12-9 or something like that. Like,
I got a 21-17 is what I'm praying for.
You said 21-17?
21-17. I think.
Are we getting a pick six or something?
Here's the thing. I don't think. Okay, look. I don't think this defense can stop them. Look. They haven't scored 30 points this year. They've only scored 20 twice. 27 week one against the Eagles, and then they scored 20 against somebody. I forgot the other team that scored 20 against.
Yeah, we actually thought that versus the Giants.
Right. So I'm like, can we hold them to 17?
And they went up and down the field.
Yeah, I think that Kyle Allen poses as we go onto the other side of the ball. Kyle Allen is – Washington runs, like, with him is more of a quick passing type of offense with McKissick. McKissick out of the backfield
Right.
has actually been a little bit of a bright spot on their offense. And really, if they run the ball with Gibson, they're actually not that bad at running the football when they commit to it. And our defensive line really is just getting pushed out of the way, and Jalen can't make the right read or fill a gap to save his life. He can't get off a block. I mean, unless it's the Giants, of course, where he probably knew a lot of Jason Garrett's tendencies. But
that didn't matter because Garrett moved the ball up and down the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Washington, if I'm them, I try and run at us. And really, to be honest with you, I try and do everything because we can't stop nothing.
You can't stop nothing. I mean, definitely getting ran at us. I mean, the scary part obviously is going to be Terry McLaurin. I mean, he's been great since he's been in the league at wide receiver. And as you talk about that nice quick passing game, he's one of those that he can catch that quick slant and house it on you. He's got that, he's got that kind of ability. Also, they're tied in, Logan Thomas, former quarterback for Virginia Tech, he's coming along in his development as a tight end as well. Now, here's where maybe we can get some wins on this defensive line, right? If you look at their offensive line, tell me who scares you. Left tackle, Christian Sr., left guard, Wes Martin, center, Chase Roulier, right guard, Wes, don't even ask me, Schweitzer, I can't even pronounce it. And then right tackle, Morgan Moses. So
I also heard that Brandon Scherf is like on the mend of possibly coming back soon.
But I don't think he's back this week for what it's worth.
But everybody comes back for us, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Fair.
We need Cheeto back bad.
Need what?
We actually need Cheeto back.
Yeah. Gotta get Worley off the field somehow, some way.
Well, a question: is Sean Lee back this week, or is there any talk of that?
He's projected to be back this week. Yes,
that could help us a lot, especially in a Washington type game. These are his type of games that he does well, especially like division games.
Mm-hmm.
Division games, Sean Lee does well. These aren't the games that he gets knocked out in. He only gets knocked out in probably like NFC caliber games outside by top people like New Orleans,
Seattle.
Yeah, so having Sean Lee back this week could help a lot because.
And I actually want Cheeto back more than Sean Lee because if Diggs and Cheeto are my corners, I actually feel better.
I kind of want Sean Lee back because I'm tired of seeing 54 get mauled by linemen. I'm just tired of seeing dreads going up in the air, bro.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I want them all back at this point. I mean, and hey, look, and Gregory's back as well too. Randy Gregory's gonna be back this week. So I mean, even more pressure maybe we're able to get across. For me, the thing that and not to kick back to the Cardinals game once again, but that Washington game, we started blitzing a lot more, and I gave him a lot of credit. I was like, man, we blitzed, we were sending some cornerback blitzes, and that's the biggest thing I said. If you can't stop nobody, you might as well take your chance with the blitz and see if you can get to the quarterback. And we did that against the Giants. We didn't blitz very much, none at all against the Cardinals, and I guess the running quarterback scared them, so they didn't get out and get loose. Well, guess what? He did anyways. The best thing this team does defensively that I've seen all year long on tape and everything else is blitzing off the edge and trying to do those kinds of things. And to me, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose coming forward instead of just sitting back and just getting picked apart.
I agree. I was going to say, if there's a week to actually start blitzing, it's this week. This week against Kyle Allen, who really he's pity patting out there, to be honest with you. Like he's definitely gun shy, in my opinion. But watch this be the week he throws for 275 and 3 touchdowns. I'll ask this question: is Kyle Allen from Texas? Because we can't see. Damn.
Yeah, he didn't play for Texas, but I believe he is from Texas for what it's worth.
We can't buy a win against these hometown kids. They just tear us up. Don't matter who it is. Don't matter if it's Sam Darnold or whoever. Doesn't matter. They kill us. Baker Mayfield.
Well, I mean, Mitch Trubisky killed us last year. He looked like he was the next coming, and now he's benched. I mean, We definitely make quarterbacks look a lot better than they truly are at times. You know,
Well, we still are.
yeah, ugly, man, ugly. You know, this team. I mean, again, to me, this game basically boils down to offensively not turning the ball over, and can we block? Can we handle their defensive front?
Not turning the ball over.
Yeah, I mean,
damn near 3 damn turnovers every week.
Yeah,
like, all right,
it's true. So true, Elton. And I hate, you know what else too? And we haven't talked about any on this on here. Somehow, some way, special teams have gotten worse since last year. My God.
Yeah.
My God. We haven't talked about that enough.
I think it is more so the decision making of the special teams. I don't know if it's the execute. The decision making on special teams is horrible.
We had 3 different whether punts or field goal blocks or whatever, where we only had 10 guys on the field last week. Three different plays.
Yeah, I just think it's the organization of the special teams. I don't think that the players are bad, but the coaching is definitely bad. The coaching is definitely bad. But you watch the games a lot,
yeah.
So I mean,
no, I mean, obviously, coaching has to transfer onto the field. I mean, but hell, we saw the missed field goal as well. I mean, we field position wise, we can't flip field position in the punt game or anything. Like we're just bad. At the end of the day, we have to look in the mirror at a certain point, and we're just a bad football team. Forget the injuries and everything else, man. We're just a bad football team right now, and we just happen to be in a terrible division that we're in first in.
That's actually the funniest thing that was said here. Is the fact that we're in first place and we're so bad. We're garbage.
Which is why it's going to hurt to not have Dak the rest of the season. Because to me, if we got Dak, I'm like, I actually think we can beat anybody with Dak. But now, like this, to me, it's no purpose to go to the playoffs to get beat 50 damn 6-3 in damn Jerry's world.
Well, and here's the thing: watch, rinse, repeat. Right now, and I preached this during the Romo era. I said, folks don't understand. All those years we were like 8-8 and stuff like that. I said we were 8-8 or 9-7 because of Romo. If we didn't have Romo, we were a 3-13 team. And wow, here we are now with Dak, and it's the same thing. We're all getting Dak out of here. It's the same thing, and it's different coaching staffs. JG, what does that tell us? What does it tell us? It's
culture.
The culture.
It's the culture.
Let's see something today. If the damn playoff started today, Green Bay would come to Dallas.
Woo!
And that would be ugly.
Smoked.
That would be whoo.
Bro, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't even want to show up. I wouldn't even want to.
I don't even know if I would watch that game. I'm like, Aaron Jones is going to go for 200.
Well, honey, I think Target has some specials today. Like maybe we should go shopping.
And I'm going to go look at the trees at damn Home Depot.
Yeah. It's almost Christmas time. Let's go look for some Christmas decorations, or maybe I'll go chop down the Christmas tree right now. I don't know.
Yeah, man. And not even get too far ahead. We still got to play the Baltimores of the world, the Steelers of the world. There's some games. There's some games coming. There's some games coming.
When you just said that, I just collapsed like that basketball player in court. Like, oh,
you know what? Going in to Monday night, I was like, all right, we're gonna lose to Pittsburgh, lose to Baltimore. Fine, but everybody else actually think we got a shot. Now I'm like,
no, but the good thing is everybody else gonna lose to them too.
Right.
The Giants gonna lose to them.
Yep.
The Eagles have already lost to them.
Yep.
Come on, Washington.
Yeah.
Come on, Washington.
You already know. And that's why I said whoever goes 4-2 in our divisions is going to win the division to go to the playoffs. 6-10, 7-9. Maybe someone leaks out. 7-9-ish, give or take some games. Is going to go and lose out on like a top 10 pick and be picking 20-something because you won this trash division with a losing record.
Yeah. So at some point we might have to have that maybe week 10, week 11. Like, is it worth winning the division? That's going to be a question.
I'll answer that now. Actually, is it worth winning the division now with Andy Dalton? Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Is it worth winning the division with Sam Darnold?
Hell, please don't say that name.
Oh my God!
Get ready. I saw it last night.
It's coming. It's coming. Donald Train.
It's coming.
Oh my God! And we even forgot to talk about it, but I got to let you guys get out of here. But before we do,
I'm good whenever you are. Hey, it's whatever.
Okay.
If you want to touch it, we can.
All right, yeah, we can touch on it. So there are rumors, and where there's smoke, there's fire. That Sam Darnold, that it's kind of heating up with trade talks, man. Fellas, what do you guys think about that?
No.
I love Elton's answer. No.
Here's the second round pick to win one more game than what Dalton would win.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean, here's the only thing where I think some people are saying this, and I'm gonna kind of draw and connect some lines here. Is over the next 2 years, his contract is I think it's $700,000 and then $900,000. So you're not going to pay a lot of money for him. I hear me out, Elton. I'm just telling you what they're saying and what's going on. It costs you a second round pick for a potential look at a quarterback, right? Blah blah blah. Maybe you play him. He plays well this year. Then you trade him if you sign Dak. You can do some things there. Also, you have to remember that Coach McCarthy, when he was fired originally from the Packers, only would be considered for the Jets job. He even came out and said, hey, I'm only talking about the Jets job because he wanted to coach Sam Darnold. So again, back to what Jay said, there's some smoke, there's some fire. Jerry Jones wants to sell jerseys and he wants to keep people interested in everything. And if it goes bad again this week with Andy Dalton, well, if I can spend this second round pick and move some jerseys and whatnot, and it'll be like we're trying to keep our team in this thing, it wouldn't surprise me if he did it.
Mark my words. If we trade for Sam Darnold, that's our next starting quarterback.
Probably so.
If I am
our next starting quarterback,
and y'all trade for Sam Darnold, please don't ever call me again.
I'm out.
Block numbers. Block.
Yeah.
Nope. I am not coming past the facility.
Yeah.
Don't call me. Take my jersey off the shelf.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah. I'm removing everything.
Montana said nobody would go to the games. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that don't want to see Four as your quarterback, and they would be happy to come to the game. And I think it would be the biggest mistake that they could ever make.
Trade for Quentin Williams. Sam Darnold, no.
Right.
If you want to trade with the Jets, trade for Quentin Williams.
I agree. Mm-hmm. But if we go and we get a second rounder for Darnold, that's your starting quarterback. I'm telling you, because he got 3 years left on the deal, and they probably liked him for the game that he torched us for, where other quarterbacks torch us. So, I just think that if they make that move, guys, don't be surprised if that's who we're going forward with. But that's kind of all I really wanted to touch on that.
That there would be detrimental. I don't like it. I don't even like the fact that it's going to heat up by any stretch of the imagination. And kind of what you said. If they do that, I mean, they will go to the games because everybody all the fans love cap money, like it's their money out their own pocket. Like, oh, we got Darnold, we ain't got to pay Dak $40 million now. We'll save all this cap money. And that's ridiculous. But I mean, a lot of these fans, though, you're right. They love that cap space. That's what their jersey says. Number one, and cap space on the back.
The cap space that we don't spend. I mean, the cap space that we just hold there for no reason at all. But You know what, man? Let me get y'all predictions, man, and we're gonna head on that. So I'm gonna start with you, Nick. What's your prediction?
Foolishly, I'm going to ride with the Cowboys for another week. Foolishly, probably. I'm looking at this defensive line and whatnot, but I just, I look at their offensive line. I look at the weapons and the guy behind center. I'm like, okay, this defense can stop this quarterback. Now I do worry about Ron. I do worry about Ron Rivera. He defensively, he's a great defensive mind. He's done great things. He's had great defenses. He will probably be dialing up the pressure on us. I don't think he's going to be scared. Riverboat runs, probably going to be gambling. We're going to see some trick plays on offense to help that offense out to kind of do something. And guess what? They've all worked on it. So why wouldn't you run them anyways? But I'm going to ride with Dallas for this week. I'm going to say we can stop Allen, right? We can stop Kyle Allen, and we can win this game 21-17.
My prediction Monday at 5:05 Pacific Standard Time was the Cowboys winning. By actually 8:35, I said, okay, the football team's going to win. We're not winning this game.
You got a score?
I can see about 28-10.
Yeah, Washington,
but we are gonna hold them down. But
ooh, I'm scary. 28-10, boy. Cowboys Nation is gonna be rioting. Go.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. My prediction is my gut tells me that. My gut told me that Christian Kirk was gonna kill us last week. Yeah. I knew Kyler Murray was gonna run all over the place. I predicted 50-10. I really did. This week, it could go either one or two ways, and I can see Washington winning. I can see Washington winning this game, like 17-14. We can't move the ball, and they just luck up. Or I could really see Washington being Washington and having the game won and just totally messing up somehow. Yeah,
give it away. Yeah,
somehow having a game-winning field goal and Hopkins being as clutch as he has been for them, or like missing a kick or something like that. So I'm going to go with that happening. I think Washington is going to be Washington, and they're going to probably kick the snot out of us all game. But it'll be like 17-16 with a chance for them to win the game, and they're going to screw it up. And I got Hopkins either missing a kick or us. Maybe D-Law making the strip sack fumble for us to win the game. I'm going to go with Washington messing it up more than us winning it.
All right. But Elton's like, no. Elton's like, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, boy, how far we've come in 6 weeks where we're like.
I mean,
hopefully we can beat Kyle Allen. I'll tell you what, we're lucky they didn't keep Adrian Peterson, y'all. We did look out on that. We're lucky that because Adrian Peterson's looking pretty daggum good still up there in Detroit. And if they would have kept Adrian Peterson, I don't think I'd pick us to win this game.
The Giants were blowing us out. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, if they would have got us for a whole game, they would have whooped us. They would have got us. They would have whooped us. So, I mean, with Andy Dalton at quarterback, they would have beat our ass. They would have whooped us.
So I can't pick us to win today.
Okay, D. Clark got a prediction of 20-19. We win it with a field goal. But yeah, man, thank you guys for coming, man. You guys, my man. You guys, can you tell them where to find you guys on social media again before we head on out?
Yeah,
man. For me, I'll go ahead, Elton. No, go ahead, Elton. No, my bad. I stepped on you. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. Oh yeah, I'm your man, Elton Carson on YouTube, and like, what the hell is my Twitter?
It's like DC 1, 2, 3, 4 or something.
No, yeah, it is DC 24-23.
Okay, gotcha.
There it is.
Maybe that's the score right there. Maybe that's the score.
Maybe that is the score. With that being said, man, on Twitter, man, you can follow me right there on the bottom of the screen at @your_guy_Knicks. Star Gang is the affiliation that me, Mary Ellie, and Spoon, we always are rocking doing the after game shows. We're doing our Cowboys report every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Star Gang is the name of the group. Star Gang is the name of the page. Like and follow and jump in both. And obviously on YouTube, it's Star Gang Podcast. Like, sub, and hit that old bell for your boy.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not in that group, on Facebook, definitely join. We're all on that group.
Yeah, we have a good time in there.
Yeah, we definitely have a good time. It's definitely my favorite group on Facebook or any Cowboys group. I promise you, it's definitely my favorite. So.
I love the group, even though I hate some of the members.
Yeah, I try to keep them in check. We don't do that troll mess. Right? Look, you got to bring something to the table. You keep showing don't bring something to the table, you will get bounced up out of there. We're trying to educate and not just sit here and troll and do stuff. But some of them, you got to let them make it, though. And I feel you. Man, I run it. Trust me. I feel you. I get the notification they post, and I'm like, man, what's this crap going to be? Let me go look.
But yeah, you guys know where to find them, and appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Sir.
Another Wednesday night. We'll be here next Wednesday at 8:30. And hopefully, I'll tell you what, Knicks. If we lose to Washington, I will be calling in on y'all post game, and I will be ranting all the way from. I'll be back. I'll be ranting. All right, so
fair enough.
Expect my call.
I'll be ready.
Me too. I'm like, when this damn 21-0 in the middle of the first quarter, like,
Oh,
like, oh!
I almost started my video early in the game on Monday. I'm about to be like, this game's over. Like, I'm not watching this shit no more. Like,
Right.
I'm done. I can't tell you what happened after this video.
Look,
But
I'll tell you what was terrible. I was up there because the Bills played first, and I was at the Buffalo Wild Wings. But there was a Bills fan in there, and obviously they took their L. Man, I had to hear it the whole night from this guy while we're playing against the Cardinals. I'm like, it doesn't. I mean, it could get worse, but my goodness, it doesn't get much worse than that when the Bills fans just up in there. I'm like, bro, y'all just lost. Leave me alone. He's like, yeah, but we're in first. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, technically we are too. So what, man?
yeah, I know. And with the red rifle, anything can happen. So
Yeah, as long as he hit the BB gun, we might be all right.
The captain.
Nah, man. Man, Ben DiNucci probably just need to come in here and save this season, bro. We need him to come in and be Roma. Dalton is Bledsoe right now.
Oh man. Yeah, that's where we are. Week 6, going into week 7, begging for Ben DiNucci. Tragic.
Yeah, but all right, guys. We're gonna end this broadcast now, and thank you guys for tuning in, and have a wonderful night.
Absolutely. Peace.